Anytime I get a chance to introduce you to somebody from the Arizona Humane Society, I already love it. And we're going to have some very, very important information for you from Dr. Kathleen Croteau, veterinarian with the Arizona Humane Society. And Dr. Croteau, you've been with the organization for 20 years now, and you've been specializing, part of that time at least, in animal trauma. So this is a period of time that's very traumatic for our dogs and cats with 120 degrees. What do we do for our dogs and our cats and any other pets that we have when you're talking about this kind of heat?
Well, it's really important during this time of year to keep our animals indoors if we can. It's obviously much cooler indoors, and we'd rather be indoors with our pets than outdoors at any point in time during the day. But for those people who cannot keep their animals indoors, we just need to make sure that they have areas for their pets to be that's completely shaded throughout the entire day, and they have access to water, cool, fresh water at all times.
Is dehydration the biggest problem when it comes to family pets in this kind of heat?
Well, dehydration is probably the least of our concerns when it comes to that. That's kind of just the start of it. But bigger concerns is when we're dealing with heat stress or even heat stroke, which is a really severe condition where their body temperature gets over 105 degrees, and it can lead to seizures, coma, GI upset, and eventually death. So that's a very big concern for us at this point in time.
Dr. Croteau, I have unintentionally created a difficult relationship problem here. I didn't introduce your friend there to the audience. We introduced you, and we forgot to say, who is that?
This adorable little pup is named Cornelius. He is one of our puppies who will be available for adoption at the Arizona Humane Society, who went through our foster program and is now returned and ready to have his neuter and find a brand new home.
Well, I hope that makes Cornelius happy. I know that Cornelius and the rest of our pets are going to be happy if we do keep them out of the sun. We talked about dehydration. What about sunburn?
Is a very big concern as well, or solar dermatitis. Usually it's more of a concern with our lighter skinned dogs or lighter furred dogs. A lot of times you'll see sunburns on the tips of their nose, or for those dogs that like to be out there basking in the sun and trying to get a little bit of a suntan on their bellies, they will get burns on their skin, and ultimately they can get skin cancer as well. So that's another big concern for us.
There are families right now who are saying, well, we don't have any problems because we have long-haired dogs, but they do have to be careful, don't they?
Absolutely. Long-haired dogs are not necessarily adapted to our hot summers. Now, their coats can be protective for them in a form of insulation, so we do not recommend that people shave their animals completely down in the summer if they're going to be outdoors, because it does actually affect their protective levels. But they are very hot and they can overheat very rapidly, as can overweight dogs or those dogs that have kind of the short squishy faces like your pugs and your bulldogs, your boxers. So those are the ones that are the highest risk to these heat conditions.
Yeah, I thank you so much for the services that you provide regularly for all of the pets and birds and who knows how many different kinds of creatures. But you also have been providing a special kind of service as a result of the wildfires that have been taking place. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, we were actually, for the first time in our history, been deployed to a wildfire where we had two separate teams go out. We responded out in the Mesa area as well as the Globe area, and we had over 29 of our staff members there, along with our EAMT trucks. We had our AKC disaster trailer out there, and we cared for 99 animals on site in order to allow those owners to be at the Red Cross facilities and then allow their animals to be in a sheltering environment as well, where they received medical care and food and water for that entire duration.
Well, I thank you for that and all the people of the Arizona Humane Society. Hey, one more thing, doctor, if you will. Even if our dogs don't like wearing them, do you suggest that we buy booties for the dogs if we're going to go for a walk?
Absolutely. We recommend that you take your animals for walks in the early morning hours and late evening hours when it's nice and cool. We do recommend that you place your hand on the pavement where you're going to be walking the animal, put it there for a full 7 seconds. If you can tolerate it, then they can probably tolerate it on their feet. But obviously, if they're going to be going on any kind of hiking or long walks, then the booties are a benefit for them to have.
So, you see, if you're not going to go barefoot during a walk, don't make your dogs go barefoot. Just advice from the Arizona Humane Society, and in this case, Dr. Kathleen Croteau. Aren't you glad that we introduced you to her?